So I'm going to test myself. Hello, hello. All right, so let's get started. We have Ray Som home inspection. So let's take a look at the site real quick. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Niels. So it's a home inspection site, and they basically sell a bunch of different inspections. Let's pull it up. So it's a local home inspector, right? We're just looking at all this kind of stuff. Resident home inspector, sewer scope, radon testing. Okay, cool. So he does a lot of stuff, but I already know that one of his primary people is going to actually be people who are purchasing a home. I'm just going to take a lot of this content and go like this, copy it, and prime. So okay, so I just primed it. Thank you. Now how I can assist you further. Perfect. So we know that his whole entire goal is going to be sell to people who are purchasing homes because they're going to want to inspect the home that they are purchasing. The neighborhood he's in, a lot of historical homes too. So that can be, very important. A lot of historical homes are very, very old. They have a lot of problems. You may not even know what to look for. So the first thing we're going to do is well, first you got to select what kind of software are you going to use to create your sales pipeline. And so some of the more popular ones out there that you probably heard of, HubSpot. So HubSpot's great. They do offer like a free trial, but most people that I know that use HubSpot, they use it more of a storage for emails. So if you're using it for just storing emails, maybe look at something that's a little bit easier to use, that you're able to get a lot more out of, actually build out a pipeline. And this webinar might be great for you. For the people who are using HubSpot, full on and they have everything, that's great. The pros and cons of HubSpot, it's been around a while. There's a lot of good stuff out there about it. The negatives, they charge you per user, per list. So if you have one contact and you're putting them in multiple lists to kind of separate it, they're going to charge you as if it's a different person each time. Just to have a contact in there, it gets charged as like one person, because you pay per like 1,000 people or so in the sales pipeline, or however you decide to divvy it up. Salesforce is another one. They do have like a cheaper version. They do have a cheaper version out there now for startups, but typically this is more for enterprise level. That's how they were built. They're trying to kind of come down and meet smaller businesses and compete with some of the CRMs that are built a little bit more for them. But in my opinion, I haven't seen a good setup of like a sales force that's worked for small businesses yet. And again, there I'm sure there's some out there. I just personally haven't. So I'm just giving you like my personal experience. Another one, Zoho CRM. You might have heard of that one. That one's actually super cheap, and you can get Zoho One if you're going to get it. Zoho One gives you all of their software for I think like $30 a month or something per user, which is like incredible. But oh, by the way, that's cheaper than even getting the premium CRM itself. So you get all the premium apps for $30 a month, or you pay more just for the CRM. It's a whole thing, but like they have, if you're gonna go that route, Zoho CRM, Zoho One is what you want to get, and then just grab the app because you have like a marketplace screen and you could download the apps you want, all premium. It's just part of your monthly. It's great if you haven't played with our software and you're just starting off and you're trying to see things. It's nice to have all the software instead of paying for all the software and trying it that way. It's very, very granular, so you can change out and define everything in your CRM, like the top bars, like lead, prospect. You can define everything and name it the way you want. So that's some of the pros. The cons, I'm very technical, and it's too burdensome, like the granularity of it all. Like it's to set everything up and constantly use it and all the details. It's too granular for its own good, I think. If you like that and that's what you really, really love, and you want to be able to every little detail change out, like the way everything looks, the screen, the setup for you, all your users, everything, then that might be an option for you. Now, another one that I've seen is Keep, Keap. This one's good too. It has a lot of what like a lot of these modern CRMs do now that are more for small businesses. I believe they are like $120 a month, and you kind of get everything. And it works well. The automations function well, and I think overall it's a pretty good software. It used to be Infusionsoft, and they rebranded. And then the one that I recommend, it's comparable to Keep actually, but instead of $120 a month, it has like an introductory price where you just get the bare minimum CRM and everything else is add-ons, whereas Keep is you get everything together. So I like Pipedrive for that reason, because you can kind of scale as you need for whatever accounts you need. Okay, so that's great. So next thing, we've chosen the software. So for this one, it's Pipedrive. All right. The second thing is define people and nomenclature. So we have to define in the sales funnel, like who's going to be a prospect, okay? Who's going to be a customer, an opportunity, an awareness, a deal, a lead, all those kind of things. Let me show you inside right here. And so on the left-hand side, we have leads and deals as the two kind of primary things. You have projects and campaigns and things like that. Campaigns is one of those add-ons that's email marketing that's separate. But like easy enough. Like who is someone who you don't put in your CRM? When do they enter your CRM and become a lead? And then when do they become a deal or have a deal attached to them? And so those are the things you want to look at. That's something you have to define for yourself. But for me, the way I do it is let's say you get a cold email list, or you're just out there on LinkedIn and you're communicating with people and you have a lot of good conversation. You want to track that somewhere, but you don't necessarily want to put it in your CRM. So a way of doing it is first, it's kind of like awareness. You become aware of a bunch of people, put that on like a Google Sheets. Inquiry, name and email, right? It's like, okay, you've gotten their name and you've gotten their email. They've kind of inquired, they've shown interest. Prospect, that's when you could put them as a lead in here, potentially. That's kind of my process. When someone I know, could go somewhere. And for me, this is kind of like a market qualified lead. That means like, again, I'm saying a lot of different nomenclature, but they all mean the same thing. It's like, okay, great. They could use my services, but maybe I haven't seen if they necessarily want them, if they need them, if they have the budget for them, right? And so for those kind of people, I might put them in the leads, and then the goal is for me to set some kind of meeting with them and have that conversation and figure it out. If I do figure it out and they become an actual, again, called a lead, it gets confusing, or to make it less confusing, if they become someone who's sales ready or a sales qualified lead, I might attach a deal to them. And every CRM is so different that you really at the beginning have to define where are your customers and like what are they going to be called. For all your pipelines, they have to have the same foundational structure. So again, for me, leads is someone who I know could use my services. A deal is when I assign this deal to that person or organization and I say, hey, this organization or person has the money and they could definitely do it, and I'm gonna put them through my sales process and see if we're a good fit. That's basically it. See maybe if a newsletter is good. Maybe if it's, again, the type 1, 2, 3, 4 people. 1, 7% of people are ready to buy now. Type 2, it's those people that need a couple months because they're shopping around. Maybe they're just not ready, but they're getting stuff together. Type 3, it's going to take 2 years to sell them, 3 years to sell them, but you want to stick them in a kind of drip campaign for those time where you're just giving them a ton of value. And then type 4, someone never buy from you, but they're going to be referral partners, and you want to have a whole separate kind of little documentation for that. So you need to define these things. Okay, now moving into the next thing, we're going to ask AI, what kind of fields should I have? All right, so the type of fields is the next part, because you might have already a lot of contacts and things like that. And we want to do something. So right here, I went to data fields. So I believe it was, under this, and I went to personal preferences, and then data fields in Pipedrive. If anybody has that and are kind of following along. So you have leads, deals, person, organization, and product. So in lead deals, it's like you want to define all of these fields. So a lot of them are standard default fields here. Okay. And these are all the ones I added myself because I know that either A, I need these and it'll help me filter better, or B, I already have these fields in a Google Sheet document where I've been storing everybody, or some kind of other CRM, and I need to input them in here because I don't want to lose that information, whether I need it or not. It's in here. I want to transfer it. And so all of these were created by me. And then with lead deal, I also, lead and deal. So they'll be the same. So when they're transferred from lead or deal automatically, it's the same fields that get transferred back and forth. Each person that you put in here can also have, so that's contacts over here. Each person can actually have slightly different information, right? You might not essentially want to say company name for that person. This person owns multiple companies or they're associated, wherever the case is, right? You might be doing business with that person, but not the company. And then you have organization, same thing. What are all the fields that you want for that? An organization might have multiple people under it as well. And so it depends on how your workflow is set up for your sales. Okay, right? You can have dedicated people for setting meetings. You can have dedicated people for inbound contact stuff. You're going to have dedicated people to close deals and have those sales calls and meetings. And their pipelines could all look different, right? Because they have a different end goal as well. So yeah, there's a lot, I get it, but like these are all the things you need to think about when setting all this up properly so you can actually use it yourself and then pass it on because you're leading from the front by using it yourself to all of your employees, all your contractors, anybody who's selling for you could use. Okay, so what we're gonna do is like, what kind of fields should they have? So let's see. So I inputted a lot of stuff here. I'm going to ask, I am setting up a CRM for some home inspections. I need to know what kinds of fields should I have for each lead? What information would be beneficial to have as a field to better filter and to know where people come from? All right, let's see what it comes up with. So like, you don't know, hey, what are all these things I should have? Use GPT, right? So lead source, that's a great one. It's like, I want to just be able to know what are all the types of lead sources. And yes, new ones come up all the time. So all you do is you put in lead source. Let's see what I have. Lead source. I think I named it a little different. Maybe it's person. Okay, but I have it in here somewhere. But a lead source, and in that lead source, you want to create a drop-down kind of field. And if it ever swaps, if it ever changes out, right? Like, hey, what I mean is if you ever add one or take one away, you can always go in here and edit it, and it'll edit for everybody. Or you can add a new one for that new lead source you went to. Hey, I went to this event and I have all these contacts. You want to create a lead source for that. So it's like a living list, okay? Then we have lead status, if you want to have that, right? Oh, we just contacted them, qualified proposal, select one, lost, right? That might be a little overkill because we already have stages for that. So maybe that's smart to do. But if you want to filter by that as well, maybe you want to do that. Who knows? Contact information, service interest, property address, property type, right? If service interest is good, because what if they're in the leads stage, right? They don't have a deal assigned to them, so they're not in a pipeline. They're just amongst everybody. So that might be smart to do, just so you know what route to go when you're prospecting those people. Property address, type, size, referred by, appointment date and time, inspection status, estimate actual cost notes, right? And it went into home inspection services pretty in depth here. So it's like, okay, great. It's talking about very specific things that I should probably create fields for. And, for Ray, he can go deep into all of the other ones too, like all of those like little services he offers. Like checking the electrical outlet, the power in your house to see what outlets go to what breakers and things like that he does, sewer scopes. And so you can put all that stuff in there. Has he done this? Has he got a consultation for this? Have they done this? You start scoring. You can start assigning scores to it, and you can get really, really deep into it. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to create what are the types of fields. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to create all those fields. Then if you're importing for the next step, if you're importing all of those Google Sheets or Excel documents of people, or you're swapping from another CRM, you need to be able to go into here, import all of them. And when you're importing, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you the first name field that's titled first name in Pipedrive. What field does that correspond to in Google Sheets or Excel or whatever you're importing from, or CSV, right? What field will that correspond to directly? And whatever you choose is what it's going to swap over to first name, right? So if you put last name accidentally, guess what? All their last names are going to go in the first names. But it's fairly simple. Like it's going to say, hey, first name, and then match it with first name. And if your field in your Google Sheets is named incorrectly to not match it, that's fine, right? Because you're swapping whatever. Just make sure the one in Pipedrive, these fields that you see right here, make sure that these are correct. So that when you swap them, you know exactly where they're supposed to go to, like business, organization. Just name it the correct way, like, hey, company name. Okay, great. That's what this is, and whatever it is on all these Google Sheets, that's fine. It could be whatever it wants to be. A tip for Pipedrive, and I don't know about the other ones, you only pay like monthly. You don't pay for the amount of contacts you have. So I don't think there's a limit. Like you just keep putting contacts in here. You do get charged for campaigns for the email marketing component, but you only pay monthly and put as much leads as you want in there. Right. But don't do too many because then it's so crowded. Are you actually going to work out of your leads? If you have 100,000 people in there, where are you going to start? They're probably not all filtered. You're going to spend weeks trying to clean the thing up. Like that's why you need to have that. When do they actually get entered into my CRM? With Pipedrive, you're not worried about cost. So you might be tempted to just put everyone in there. Don't. But like HubSpot, you're charged per person. So you don't want to do that. All right. But here you're not. So like, you kind of want it. You might be tempted. Just don't do it, right? Like you want to be smart about it. Here, you can be a little more lenient, like certain people that you wanted to, but you weren't sure, or it's a money thing, right? You're able to actually do it now. Okay, so we have all our fields created. The next thing we want, import lists with corrected fields. So now you're doing the second part of this, which is look at your Google Sheet documents, CRMs, all that. See what fields you might have missed, and then go ahead and enter them in here as a second kind of sweep of entering fields. Okay, we're done with that. The next thing is 5. We want to integrate. All right, so we want to integrate email, calendar, Asana, QuickBooks, whatever you're using. Asana is a project management tool, and you want to go in here and you want to just integrate all of them, and then you're going to have your calendar integrated. You're going to have all your Asana activities here. You're going to have if you do, what was the other one? Asana, calendar, QuickBooks for invoicing. So a QuickBooks invoice or a user gets created every time you create one that's been won, or whatever you determine. So that's the next thing you want to do. The reason you want to do this is at the end of the day, the CRM should be something that is always pulled up on your screen when you're working. And if it's not user-friendly enough. If you're in this other thing, looking at stuff, if you're in a Google calendar all the time instead of the calendar in here, if you're on your mail somewhere else and you're not in here, why not? Build a habit of using this all the time. It starts top down, like leaders set the example, and then expect that from everybody else, and then they can make sure that's easy enough and set up properly for them to actually use it and have it pulled up all the time. Make it something that's required. All right. The next thing is pipeline created in stages. So right here, this is an example of a pipeline, hosting and maintenance. So we have prospect, lead, meeting, phone call, proposal sent, proposal signed, payment requested, payment made. again, you have to define all these terms, because what's a lead here and what's a lead here, right? It's like there might be some crossover. And sometimes I pluck people from here when they're inbound, okay? So if someone reaches out to me and they're a lead and I haven't qualified them for sales stuff, I could just be like, well, maybe they are sales ready, maybe they're not, but I'm gonna throw them in here. I'm gonna reach out to them and maybe make them a lead and then throw them in here. Or if I'm doing sales outbound stuff and I know these people need something, maybe I'll throw them in here in their prospect, lead, need a phone number. I know this is not my hosting and maintenance real pipeline. I just created a new one for you guys. But this is exactly the stages I have, okay? So you want to define all the stages. So how are we going to do that? So I'm creating a sales pipeline in Pipedrive for home buyers. I need you to, with as little stages as possible, define. Now let's see how many stages they do actually. I need to get someone from prospect to sale. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So lead is identified. Then we have an initial contact. They need an assessment. Proposal or estimate is sent. And estimate is sent. Then we have a follow-up, negotiating and closing, inspection scheduled, inspection completed, invoicing, payment received. Let's say that this is his process. Like he did the invoicing after and all that kind of sort of stuff, right? So here we go. We have all these. So there's a lot here. Let's compare it. So we have lead identified. So maybe we do that as prospect, right? Initial contact, meeting, phone call. Okay, so maybe we don't need the lead. Needs assessment. That would be the next one. Have we done a needs assessment with them? Proposal or estimate. Have we sent that? Proposal sent, right? Follow-up, right? For me, I have payment requested during the proposal sign thing and the payment made, because that's all I need here. Because I take payment up front. Sometimes you don't need to extend it all the way through this cycle because it really flows into your operations, right? And in your operations, that's where you have another cycle, another thing with stages. Like, hey, let's onboard this person. Let's do this for them. Let's do this for them. Let's do this for them. And that's, let's say if you did payment first. Sometimes you have the payment at the end and you have to have your whole cycle in the sales here, right? And it does cross over with operations. And you do have to still have two separate ones, one in like Asana or your project management tool, having stages and getting people from one to the other, but maybe they start once the proposal is signed, right? And you can go really in depth in Asana to make sure that they actually, get delivered the product or service that is required of them. And then once that's done, then, service is completed or whatever. It says here, which is inspection scheduled, right? Operation inspection completed, boom. And then invoicing. So invoice sent and then payment received. And then you're done with them, right? You're done with them in your sales, your initial sales. And so now what we've done is we created these. So lead identified, this is initial stage when a potential customer's contact is made, initial contact, contacted. So basically it's just saying what I said already, but it give you a nice explanation. So we have that. We would, that's actually pretty good. I would probably use those stages to create this pipeline. Now, there's going to be something called sticking stages, okay? Sticky or whatever you want to call it. Don't know if that's an actual term out there. It's a term I use for automations for sales emails. So what we want to do is I need you to identify what stages people get stuck in for the longest periods of time on average. So In a home inspection business, several stages in sales pipeline might have longer durations due to various factors. However, it's important to note the following points are general assumptions based on typical sales process and may vary depending on specific business practices and market conditions. True. So here's the first one, needs assessment. This stage can be time consuming as it involves understanding the potential client's needs, inspecting the property preliminary, at least visually or via pictures, and identifying what kind of inspection they require. Miscommunication or lack of clarity at this stage can lead to delays. I agree. That should be one of them. Proposal estimate, 100%, right? How many times you get a proposal sent out, it doesn't come back, maybe eventually gets signed, but you got to keep on it. Follow-up. Which stage was this for the follow-up? Oh, yeah. So actually, I would group these two together, right? I wouldn't create those as a separate stage. I would put it in this, and we could do some automations around it. Negotiation and closing. So back and forth about that. Let's see where this is at here. Again, this should probably be during this whole process, right? Like you have the needs assessment. You go through what they actually need, what things they're going to want, the scope, right? In the proposal, you send it. If they need a call, just call that as part of the proposal kind of thing. And that's it, right? We need the proposal signed here. Now, negotiation closing, again, like I said, tied in. Payment received. Yeah, in order to receive the payment, this shouldn't be the sticking stage. It's probably going to be the one right before it. So the invoice sent. So some of the sticking stages. Okay, so some of the stages I identified as having longer periods of time in our needs assessment. Okay, the next one is proposal sent. The next one is actually we're going to do inspection scheduled, because there might be reschedules and things like that, and you want to just send out a couple emails up until the point of that day in order to just let them know, hey, this is what's happening. Great to work with you. This is what you need to know. Make sure to remember this and those sort of things. And then the last one is invoice sent. Okay, great. So I told them what these are going to be. The next thing I need to do is say, I need to assist my sales people through these sticking points. Okay. How I want to do this is by sending out an automated emails. Let's go with this. Typically, I do 3 to 10 automated emails. I'm sending out 3 to 10 automated emails to nudge them through those stages. I need you to create the title and description for these emails for each one of the sticking stages. I need you to tell me, I need you to decide it's 3 to 10, or decide how many emails will be needed for each stage. Put this in a easy to follow way for me. All right. So what I want them to do is I want them to create these outlines. So if you can assist your salespeople by automating emails to nudge people, right? Like for proposal, hey, just following up. You got any questions on the proposal. Hey, these are the things, maybe a video of how to read the proposal, and maybe a link to schedule some time on someone's calendar to go over the proposal with them, or maybe the automation is going to create a task for someone in a CRM or send an email to someone in your sales team in order to reach out to that person that's stuck in that proposal stage, maybe after the 4th or 5th email in a 2-week span, right? Whatever it is, we can automate all this. So needs assessment. Email 1, getting started with your home inspection. Let's assess your needs. Description, this email will gently remind the customer of the importance of completing their needs assessment. Okay, great. Proposal sent. 1, 2, 3, right? Don't forget the home inspection. Final reminder, please review the home inspection proposal. And we don't have to do things like final reminders. I know it's just doing this because this is like a common thing out there now, but like you don't need to say anything like that. It's kind of it's a bit aggressive. Stage 3. Depends on your school of thought too. If you want that, go for it, but you don't need it. Inspection scheduled. Upcoming home inspection, what to expect. This email will provide a reminder of the scheduled inspection and to inform the customer of any preparation needed. Email 2, right? Reminder, final reminder. Invoice sent. That might work as long as you time it right. So this automation is going to have to be time-based. That's all. Stage 4, invoice sent. Your home inspection is ready for payment. Reminder, your home inspection due date approaching. Boom, boom. Okay, so let's say his brand is a little bit more fun, right? He wants to be more fun about it and not as grim or something like that. Okay, I need at least 3 emails for each one of these. Not 2 like you had on the first one. You can notice it did 2 on that one instead. Okay, I love the initial approach. Right, be nice to them. Be nice to the AI. So initial approach. I love the initial approach. I need you to now create the emails for me. I need them to be very professional, but fun. Think about it from the perspective of the home buyer that has a lot of stress on their plate as it is. Okay. So I gave it some perspective there, a little bit of different stuff. Okay, so it's doing like this. Again, I did not ask it to do this way. So we're gonna stop generating. Do not put this in a command prompt box. Okay, let's see if it there. Oh, it's doing it again. Okay. That's not what I was asking. Okay, I need this to be let's see how we can get it out of this thing. Okay, there we go. All right, so needs assessment. Let's shape your home inspection together. Right, email 1. Okay, so title, the subject, same thing. Dear customer, we are thrilled to be on this journey with you to inspect your potential new home at this stage of understanding your unique needs. is key to providing you a tailored service. The joy is in the details, right? We are here for you. We can navigate this together, breathe easy, and let's continue this exciting adventure. All right. It took that perspective of, hey, I'm buying a home and I'm under a lot of stress, especially in this day and age, right? Like, oh, everybody's just throwing around 50K just to outbid you. It's crazy. So, email 2, a friendly nudge for your needs assessment. Email 3, let's cross needs assessment off your list. And this is perfect. So I'm going to need this to be a little bit more fun. A little bit more fun. Don't end it with last chance / final email type. Email, it's too aggressive and we want that. I need you to, oh, sorry, everything else is great. I need you to finish doing the emails for okay. The other sticking stages. So I needed to finish it now. So stage 2, proposal sent. Good news, your personalized home inspection proposal is ready and waiting for you. It's packaged with insights about what you can do for your potential new home. So why not pop some popcorn, get cozy, and give it a read? Yeah. And so this one I would tailor a little bit different, right? About the proposal sent. Maybe it's actually this one's not bad because it's not the full home review. So, have you seen your home inspection proposal yet? Just checking in, right? All that kind of stuff. Let's see, inspection scheduled. Your home inspection is on the calendar. Just pop in to remind you of it, and you could use these as a good starting point and tailor it. Again, I don't know Ray's specific needs, his approach, what he already kind of sends out. I would use some of that and put it in here and then have them reword a bunch of it. And then I'll use those. Again, invoice sent. Again, invoice sent, proposal sent. I would probably come up with 10 emails or so for the proposal and spread it out over a long period of time just in case it's sitting there for a while. And in certain points of it, such as email 4, so like, sorry, the fourth kind of email, instead of an email, it would be a task created for one of your salespeople to reach out and call that person, right? And that might happen immediately after, or like 2 days after the third email sent, maybe every 3 that happens. And so not necessarily that all 10 are emails, but you're going to have these tasks created to have a real person reach out, right? Instead of the automation. You still need to do that. This just kind of reminds people, everybody's busy. I love getting little reminders about something I actually want and need, and I'm just like forgetting about, or like, I don't know what's going on. It's been too long. Can you just send me something? And so that's what this does. So once we get all these created, right, we figure out how many emails per sticking point. We gave the outlines why. We've created the emails. And then the last and final step is to actually create automations. So in here, I'm not going to go through all of this, right? That could be a whole nother webinar in itself, the whole automation creation and all that. But really, you go into more automations and you create some kind of automation. And the way the automations are created is they have to have a trigger and then what happens after that trigger. So a whole automation can start with, give you an example. If we have, I won't do that. Let's do this one because I just put some. If you drag one person from this to here, okay. If you drag them from one stage to another, you can have a whole automation go off. And that's the way this should be set up. And that's the whole point of this. All right. So yes, you can't be dragging people accidentally anywhere or anything like that. You need to set everything up before you automate it to make sure that you're not breaking things when you're cleaning stuff up, right? So as you drag and drop one person to the other, and we just drag and drop them into proposal sent, next thing we have to do is set up the automation. The trigger will be proposal sent, stage, in pipeline, hosting and maintenance. like their stage has been changed from wherever they were to proposal sent in the pipeline hosting and maintenance. Okay, so that's a trigger. The second thing is what happens after the trigger. Initial email task gets created. Okay, when the proposal is sent, you know, maybe a task needs to be created, like actually not that one. So after your initial meeting or needs assessment, that should be when this happens. So in the meeting, an assessment, there needs to be an initial email that actually gets sent out personally, okay? Because you need to discuss a lot of the things that you and the client have discussed to personalize it. You guys might have chat about children, about goals, about some things, about speed, about little things that they want included in a follow-up email. And so that, you still want to put in the automation, but you want to remember to do it. So you do drag and drop them into, hey, this meeting has been completed. But the first stage in that automation after you trigger it is create task for this person or the lead owner, right? If you have multiple people. And what happens is then they will get assigned a task and a notification if they have it set up right on their phone. Hey, you need to send this follow-up to this person by the end of today. And that gets fed into Asana and maybe you can do it. Maybe it's fed into your calendar too. However you want to do it, you can set up these automations. Now, that's number one. 2 days later, a follow-up email goes out. 2 days later. And again, what does that 2 days later mean? It's if it has not been opened or has not been clicked or something like that. So we want to do open most likely for some of these. If it has not been opened, oh, sorry, clicked, my bad. So clicked would be like schedule a meeting or something. Or maybe we don't do any of that. Maybe it's just going to go through all 10 emails. It really depends on your situation. For me, most likely what happens is it doesn't matter if they open or click it, although I do like to see that. My goal is to send them until they got out of that proposal stage, right? Until the proposal is signed and I move them and drag and drop them. I want those emails going out. So the second one, 2 days later. The third one, maybe you do 3 or 4 days later. The next one, right? Avoid weekends, just do weekdays, and then do 3 more days later, or 5, or once a week, or whatever you want, depending on how many emails you want and how long of a duration you determine. You can ask GPT about that in your specific situation also. So, yeah, you set up all those automations and that's it. And then you got to create the rest of your pipelines and all the emails specifically tailored towards them. Although maybe some of the proposal ones are going to be very similar. And so you can, like when you're doing the emails, you've already created all your pipelines. And in ChatGPT, you're like, okay, I need it for this pipeline now. Okay, now redo it for this pipeline, redo it for this pipeline, redo it for this pipeline. Here are the details and little things that I need put in there. Right? These are all of my pipelines. They're for specific things. Pipelines, you can determine that you need a pipeline for either a different service because it's a different sales cycle, different people, all the personas, all that kind of thing. If you have a product that you sell to high-end users and low-end users and things like that, maybe that's enough, right? One service or product can have multiple pipelines, like a B2B, B2C, and B2G. If it's the same service, your sales cycle is going to be different for all three. That's three pipelines right there. If it's something like this, I do webinars. Okay, so anybody out there who is part of a marketplace or a network and like a small business development center or anything like that, I offer free webinars to them and all their people because it gives a lot of value and whatever topic they want to cover. And I get in front of a lot of people. And so it's kind of like something I do. And that's a pipeline for me. Although that's not a direct sale, right? The sale is me getting that, getting that contact. Realtor introduction to build, know, like, and trust. Yeah, maybe that is. Have you had? You can build up a whole referral partners can be a whole pipeline also. So realtor intro. Thanks, Ray. That's Ray that we did the whole thing for. So the realtor intro, like your best referral partners are realtors. So you want to get in contact with as many as possible. Maybe it's an Excel document that works best for this and not a CRM because it starts getting very crowded in here. But maybe it is. It really depends on your situation. Maybe the realtor offices, in order to do some kind of webinar or thing for them, that might be better to put them in here. And then realtors themselves get put into like a referral program you have that's maybe in a Google Sheets document or something more sophisticated on your website, right? An affiliate program or referral or something like that. There's different ways of doing it. But I'll take any questions now. And like I said, I'm not going to be setting up automations to show you guys. That's a whole entire thing in itself. It's way too long, but I'm more than happy to give out free consultations. And give it a second. Does anybody, Ray or anybody else, want to see anything else on the creation of a pipeline with automated emails and things going out for that pipeline? I mean, it's a lot. Once you have it going, this should be able to boost sales a good amount. Like you're not going to have people fall through the cracks as much, right? Because they're just getting stuff sent to them. And you guys can think about this. All those big companies out there that send text messages all the time or emails, right? Not just newsletters, but like very specific kind of stuff. And sometimes proposals and all those kind of things. The really, really big companies, the ones that are doing things right, they have all this automated. This is how they do things. They're automating as much as they can, so they don't have to worry about it, right? No problem, Niels. Anytime. And for next week, I haven't really decided what it's going to be, but I will post it Monday for the next event. And just letting everybody know, I'm still offering 3 months free hosting for Geek Heroes Hosting. We stood up our own hosting company. We'll be a registrar soon by the end of this quarter now. I think we entered the next quarter. So yeah, by the end of this quarter. And we do custom web design and development, as well as fractional CMO for those who don't want to hire a full-time marketing person, but could use a team like ours to go in there with the help of AI and a lot of really talented copywriters and really do things 10 times faster than you could with the assist of everything. All right. If nobody's got anything else, then that is it. It's been great. I still see that my name and my things cut off. So Zachary Vick, if you're out there, I know you mentioned it to me. It was good until I made myself smaller. I could probably fix it a little bit, but that's all right. Company is Geek Heroes. So there we go. And yeah, like I said, Patrick Sanzak, a veteran-owned company, Geek Heroes. Thank you, everybody. Feel free to reach out for a free consult for AI and anything else you need. Thank you. Till next week.